the igniter of Pharaoh's change of heart to allow the Jewish folks to begin their passage. It kept them safe, and that was what allowed them their freedom. Was the 10th plague, and so we're and the Passover of the angel of death. So we know that's coming, and I know that sounds a little morbid, but what's interesting is it also falls on the Christian holiday
Yes.
of Palm Sunday, and all of these holidays are for this year are all right with each other, just as we are right with each other now.
Oh, I love that, Paul.
Okay, so happy Wednesday, March 24th. It is our midweek Oasis service. My name is Paul Prasuti, and I'm happy to be your host tonight. Welcome, church family and friends that may be visiting for the first time. Our Wednesday night services were designed by Reverend Jeff to be an oasis, a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. And it was here on Wednesday nights when Reverend Jeff came to us about almost 6 years ago that he introduced the idea of a satsang style. And he did the first one, and he always did the first Wednesday nights of the month. He had a big draw, so that was in our favor. And his satsang style idea was that he would have a speaker speak for about 20 minutes and then go into a rich, informative, intimate, and informal discussion. And so that's what we've been carrying on for about every Wednesday for the last 5 or 6 years. Sometimes our speakers are more classroom or lecture oriented or interactive and contemplative, but it seems like everybody has leaned into this satsang style. So we continue that practice tonight. Our speaker tonight is a fabulous practitioner here at our center in Oakland. Her name is Judith Roberts. I'll tell you a little bit more about her later. But I want to remind you of our annual and monthly themes. Our annual theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. I'll say it again. Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our monthly theme this month, as we recognize Women's History Month, is Open to Possibilities. So if you're here for the first time, we welcome you. We're glad that you're here. I'll have some information during the announcement so that you can stay better connected to us. Also, our regular Wednesday night folks and our Sunday folks are all converged here on Wednesday. I'm glad you came, and I'm grateful that you're here. So you know, to improve the quality of our transmission, our Zoom team behind the scenes will mute your camera and microphone if you haven't done it already. Please do so. That will preserve the transmission in the Zoom environment that we're now following. With that in mind, I'm going to ask Eliza Young, one of our practitioners, to open us in prayer at this time. Eliza.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for coming. So good to be here. So let's just take a breath together. And I know that there is only one power present, and that is God. And it is perfect. The life of God is perfect, whole, and complete, and it is my life. And so I claim this power is embodying in Judith, our speaker tonight, as she brings us wisdom and precious words about invisible friends that we may not see, but we experience their support and their friendliness in our lives. And they bring us great comfort and courage and so much more. And so I know all the words that are spoken tonight and the silences in between serves everyone who is here. Each one receives the perfect message and is going forward with this wisdom of God and kindness of God and love of God and so much more. And this evening is already blessed in the mind of God. It is done, and I am grateful, and I release it to the law that says it is done, it is so. And so it is.
And so it is.
So now turn over the evening to Judith.
Well, before
Right.
you do that, Liza, let me bring her in with a little bit of a welcome and
Oh, okay.
introduction, if I may. Thank you, but thank you, Liza. Practitioner Judith Roberts. What I love about Judith Roberts is every Wednesday night that she has delivered for us, she always gives us gives me a huge nugget that I get to take with me, and it with a new spiritual message that I haven't quite heard before. So I'm leaning on the fact that she's going to do a repeat performance of that nature. Her topic tonight is invisible friends, continuing our theme for the month of open to possibilities. It is with great delight that I welcome Judith Roberts, one of our practitioners. Judith, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Paul. And again, welcome, warm welcome to all of you who are attending. I know some of you are attending from afar and some of you are attending from other communities. So I'm delighted that you're here. And this is a rich topic. I want to preface my talk by letting you know, because some of you don't know this, that the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living has had a senior minister named Reverend Jeff for approximately 6 years. And Reverend Jeff passed away last Friday. So this community, including me, are, grieving. So he's a beloved man. And it's a very sensitive time for us. He actually gave me this date to speak. And I picked my topic before he passed away. And I thought, okay, so do I stick with this topic or do I change it? And I just checked in with myself and I thought, this is appropriate for the time. And it is a topic for all of us. I called my topic invisible friends. It could be called unseen support, but I thought invisible friends is more poetic. So I've gone, that's my topic. And there's a lot of support that we all receive in our lives from visible and known sources like friends and family and therapists and clergy and even our pets. But there's also support that we receive that is more mystical from other sources that are perhaps beyond us, as Paul and I were talking earlier, beyond the veil. And that's what I wanted to address tonight, primarily. So I have a few slides that I want to open with, and I'd like to invite Peter to show the slides, starting with the invisible friends. And then Peter, we can go to the next one. So we humans are bridges between heaven and earth. And where heaven and earth meet is in our hearts. And we can receive support from above and support from below. I love this graphic because it's showing someone doing the tree pose in yoga, and it just shows our reach, that we are in the middle between heaven and earth. So Peter, you could go to the next slide now. And I wanted to open with this quote from The Little Prince. And now here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And it's like an iceberg. We see this certain amount above, but then there's this rich, rich resources available to us beneath the surface. So I'm using the metaphor of an iceberg, but I'm also using a couple of other metaphors. And Peter, we could go to the next slide. And forgive me, I'm having some, this happened another time when I was on screen, my eyes started watering, and it's not tears, it's something else. They seem to be aggravated by something. Okay, so the second metaphor after the iceberg is the quaking aspen trees. In Utah, there's an aspen grove called Pondo. It's also called the Forest of One. And Pondo in Greek means I spread out. And these two slides on the right, these two pictures on the right, are both pictures of the Pondo Grove. There's 47,000 trees, which are also called stems. They average 140 years old. Each is genetically identical, and they share a single root system, which is why they're called the Forest of One. And the root system is thought to be at least 80,000 years old. So Pondo covers 107 acres and weighs 6,615 tons. It is a contender for the largest organism in the world. And I'm using this as a metaphor for us, for humans, because we are individual, yet we are one. And what sustains us, or part of what sustains us, is unseen. Just as this massive root system is unseen by us, by the human eye, but it is one root system supporting 47,000 trees. Okay, Peter, you can go to the next slide. My next metaphor is the mycorrhizal fungi, which in Greek translates as the fungus root. And it represents something that I think I have a definition here. It refers to the points of connection that exist between many plants and fungi. So in this graphic, you can see the roots of the trees and then these little white things spreading all over the place. And those are called hyphae, which are fine branching threads of fungi. And if you were to, in a healthy forest, if you were to dig down under one of your feet and collect these hyphae and put them end to end, they could stretch out to be 300 miles long. There are so many, they're so abundant. And the network of hyphae is called mycelium. And the mycelium are sometimes referred to as an underground internet because they send messages and resources back and forth between plants and trees, and even trees of different species. And they actually manage a healthy forest. And this is all going on underground, unbeknownst to us. There is a contender for the largest organism on Earth. That is one fungus. It's several hundred ton, the several hundred ton mycelium of one fungus. It's 2,000 to 8,000 plus years old. and it spreads across 2,223 acres or 4 square miles in Oregon's Blue Mountains. So I'm using this as another metaphor for our human condition and our humanness, that our vision, our external vision is limited. We see, we feel, we hear, we taste. We have our 5 senses. And then there's this invisible realm that is also part of us and also that we have access to. So let's go to the next slide, Peter. I wanted to return to this one and just contemplate it for a minute. And now, Paul, you can bring us back to the group. And I want to share a couple of quotes with you. One of them is John O'Donohue, and it refers to springtime. And along with Passover and Palm Sunday, we've also just entered into spring. We've just passed the spring equinox. This quote from John O'Donohue says, "It is the paradox of spiritual growth that through bleak winter journeys, we eventually come through a hidden door into a bright field of springtime that we could never have discovered otherwise." And it has been a bleak winter for so many here with COVID and with so many things. And then the next quote is Rumi, and this will be familiar to most of you, I think. "The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep." So I wanted to talk about the doorways. I know we all have our ways that we enter through doorways into the more mystical realm of life. In our service last Sunday, Reverend Jerry was talking about the passing of Reverend Jeff and also the passing of a recent practitioner in our community. And she felt that she had received signs from this man, Richard, who had recently passed away. And she shared what the signs were. I also have received signs from dear ones that have passed away. And I believe I received a sign from Reverend Jeff last Friday evening, even though I didn't know he had passed away that afternoon. I wanted to open it up to you to share what your invisible friends might be, how you go through these doorways, because we can all be resources for each other and we can all remind each other of what's possible. So I'd like to open it up now and just ask if any of you would like to share your feelings or thoughts about this. And just raise your hand up if you would like to speak. Just put it in front of the camera.
Yes, if you're interested in speaking, you have 2 ways to signify to be recognized. You can turn on your camera and raise your hand like I'm doing right now. You also can use your participants, your reactions button at the bottom of your screen for most of us, and you can raise your hand. So if there's somebody that would like to join in this discussion or respond to the inquiry that Judith is making, now's the time to do that.
Oh, and one more thing, this is very important. I want to just say there's no right and wrong. We're from different faith communities. We have, we all access our support, our invisible friends in different ways. And so I want to invite everyone to listen without judgment. Thank you.
Is there someone that wants to start the discussion? I see Maggie has her hand raised. So Maggie, as succinctly as you can you turn on your,
Yes.
there you go.
Well, I'm one of those people that receives invisible support, invisible friends. I have two that are regular in my life, and I was afraid of them as a child when they first introduced themselves at age 6. But by age 42, when I arrived here, where I met Judith, I was studying hypnotherapy. We both were studying hypnotherapy school. And I just made a decision I would not be afraid anymore. And it's been so liberating. Oh my gosh, so liberating. So in 2011, my mother passed. My father died in 2001, the year I came here. And my mother died in 2011. And I was going up the street to Roberts Redwood to walk. And my father, who had never come through before, put a song out that he sang to me as a child in his voice. It came out of my mouth while I was driving. And I pulled over, stopped the car, and I said, "Dad." And he said, "I want you to sing this song to your mother at your mother's memorial service in Houston." So that was very special. And I didn't do it at the memorial service. I did it when it was just her and me and the woman at the, what do you call the home where they're prepared? The display home. Can't think of the name of it. And so I didn't do it in front of everybody, but I did sing it to her, which I'm sure it came out at the appropriate moment. My mother was probably hovering over her body at the casket. And it was very magical to have my father come and greet her. I knew that I was representing Dad. It was Dad's voice. It was not my voice. Very cool. So that was definitely an invisible friend.
Yes.
And support.
Yes. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. I wanted to ask Eliza. Eliza, you shared something with me earlier today, and I wondered if you could share that with this group. You're muted.
I know. There I am. I'm not sure. Well, we talked about a lot of different things. I'm not sure what you wanted me to share. But when you told me about this topic, you know, we were talking about support, and I said, "Oh, this is a juicy topic for me," because there was a time, and when I had been a practitioner for a few years, where I really had to look at support, because we have this mandate to be active and loyal and supporting to our senior minister. And I felt like I couldn't do that. And I took a leave of absence. And then, you know, I was called, and I thought I was just going to let my license expire. And then I was called back. I went to a retreat, and, you know, I filled out this thing, and you're supposed to say how you want your name. And I wrote Eliza Young. And when I arrived, it said Eliza Young, RSCP, Religious Science Practitioner. I thought, okay. And so, you know, I thought, well, I guess I have to keep this going, you know. And when I came back, from the retreat, I started taking classes, and the woman who worked in the office said, well, you can still, and I said, no, it's been more than 2 years. I think I have to start over, but it just went through. In the home office, they cashed my check. I thought, oh, they're going to figure this out. And then they sent me a card that said, you know, you're a religious science practitioner. But before I did that, I had to look at support. And because the minister that was, we had an interim minister, Carol Carnes, and she said, you need to write down why you took a leave and how you dealt with that. And so I had to look at where in my life I felt unsupported. And what was that about? And where did that come from? Because I know in my heart of hearts that all my needs are met. And it's just whether I'm willing to accept that and believe that and have that faith. And so I had to see, well, this isn't about me, you know, supporting the senior minister. This is about me finding out how I need to feel supported. What do I need? And I had to really go deep into that before I could write about it to renew my license. Anyway, I don't know how much more you want to hear. It took me a while to get there, to realize, oh, I am supported all the time. I have enough to eat. I have enough money. I have a place to live. I have friends. I have love. I have to just be willing to receive, you know, like the prodigal son. You have to know and receive it. And the other thing Judith and I talked about was, you know, maybe asking the wrong person for support, you know, and asking someone who's not able to give you the support that you want. Well, then you have to go and ask another person until you find someone who says, yes, I can do that for you. So that's about all I have to say right now. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Eliza, that what really struck me when you shared that with me was talking about accepting support, that support is always there.
Right.
But I have to accept the support. I have to allow it. I have to let it in. And that's such a, you know, part of the equation.
Right.
I mean,
I know that I deserve it, no matter what. No, you know, that I, not only that I'm willing, but of course I deserve to be supported. Everyone does. Yeah. And so that's what I had to look at, my belief system. Where does that come from, that I don't think I deserve this? Huh. And I do. Everyone does deserve to be supported by spirit, you know, and you can see examples of that everywhere in the world, you know, of plants and animals and humans that are supported, whether they believe it or not.
yes, and you're reminding me, I wanted to say something about the support of ancestors and who ancestors are. Ancestors are anybody who we love and who has loved us, who has passed on. And we can call on ancestors for support. We can call on ancestors for help. And that includes pets. Pets who have passed on can be ancestors. It can also include figures in history who we love and admire. We may not have known them, but they can also be ancestors who are available to help. And so this means that our Reverend Jeff, beloved Reverend Jeff, is now an ancestor. And he's on the other side. And if you feel moved to ask for support, no doubt it'll be there. No doubt. So I'd like to open it up to see if anyone else would like to share about the doorways you access or the ways that you go through. Maggie, I want to call on other people. We'll come back.
Gabriella has her hand up,
Okay,
and
Gabriella.
and then Judith is next.
Okay.
I could talk about this subject all night.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, and a world I kind of live in a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out which friend I can talk about. But one way that I communicate with the other side, or the other side communicates with me, is through the bird world. I don't know at what point in life I chose the birds, or someone introduced me to the hawks. I mean, these are penguins just for fun behind me, but I don't know. At some point, hawks just started being signs for me, and they kind of tell me to pay attention. But they show up in interesting places and ways, and when I need to look at something, I mean, like they'll show up in the tree across the street or something, and I find that with either, if I am working with deities in the realm of clear energy, and I work with archangels and Jesus and beings to help do that. But in my own life, when I'm walking, when something's trying to get my attention, I find that I can feel things that I know, and I can't so much when I don't know. So like, I grew up, when I was young, I knew my paternal grandfather, but I never knew my paternal grandmother. And I would love to feel her in some way, but I never had something to reference. And I was having this experience cleaning out, helping my parents clean out old stuff. And my grandfather was a choir conductor. And so we have a lot of old music that no one's using, like choir music or opera music or books and stuff, and I don't have that talent. I mean, I don't have that skill. And I wanted to pass it along to the perfect person. I found the perfect person to give all this music to one weekend. And that weekend, I just was seeing hawks everywhere. They were just like trying to get my attention. They were in the trees. They were making loud noises. And then I went to my energy clearing class that I was taking, or I have this teacher I work with on and off for years. And I was like, I feel like there's some energy around me because the birds just won't be quiet, and I'm not totally sure what's going on. And I kind of feel something around. And she's like, so she checked me, and she says, it's ancestral. And then I said, well, is it my grandpa? Cause I'm kind of going through all this stuff right now. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, well, what? Why is he around? Or, like, what does he want to say? And is he upset that I'm giving away all this music? It was a big, big part of his life. Am I doing the wrong thing? Like, should I be holding on to this even though no one's using it? And I took a day with it, and she's like, you can talk to him. You can totally just go into prayer and then have a conversation. And I did, and I felt so much love. I had never really done that. I had never really sat in prayer and then called someone in to have a conversation. And it was really great to feel that love. It's been a long time. And I've tried to feel my grandmother, like rituals I've done with friends, but I can't feel her. But this other presence was familiar, and it was so nice to feel it. And it was just like a conversation. I just kind of felt him, and I just felt messages like, create music in your own life. I was like, I'm sorry I gave away your books, like, you're not here anymore. But I mean, you are here whenever you want to be. But I felt like, I was trying to like not, superimpose my human assumptions of what, like, what am I doing wrong? Shouldn't I be doing nothing wrong? I don't know. But it was this nice moment. I mean, of having that and being like, him saying like, music is his connection. He's connected to music. Just, I mean, I inherited his love of music. And I did, I did join some choirs after that. I took it as like okay, thank you, Grandpa. You're right. You're absolutely right. So it's possible.
Thank you so much, Gabriella. That's very, very special that you have that context for the birds. That's really, really heartwarming. And you're reminding me, I had a couple of other quotes about love that I wanted to share with you, because you mentioned how much love you felt. This one is a quote from Ernest Holmes that says, "Love is the great transforming power which brings everything into harmony. It is the unifying principle, the creative element, the motivating power of all that is fine and noble in life. It is the healing force." And another quote, this is Hafez, who says, "I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul. Love has befriended Hafez so completely. It has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known." Pure love. So
Beautiful. I think we also had Judith's hand was up.
yeah, let's call on Judith Ronglass, Dr. Judith.
I'm finding in this evening that I wish that I had done more with some things that came through for me. I was pretty young when my mom passed away. I was 21, and my husband and I had come to Connecticut, my parents' anniversary, decided to get married. We got married and stayed around the Connecticut area for a while, and then went to Chicago and back to San Francisco. Now, when we got back to San Francisco, nobody really knew where we were. We didn't have an apartment or anything. And I knew my mom was in the hospital. It was a planned hospital visit to see if she was a candidate for heart surgery. So we had found a new place, an apartment, and this one night, the first night in the apartment, I had a dream. And it was very powerful, the most powerful thing that ever happened along those lines. Not to be sarcastic, but most powerful thing that ever happened without the involvement of psychedelics. So the dream was that my mother and I were on the phone, long distance phone call, and she is telling me that she has to leave. And I'm arguing. You can't go. I'm not ready for you to leave. I'm the baby of the family. You can't leave me. And she said, I have to go. And although we were of the Jewish faith, it came out, what she was saying came out in a little bit funny way. She said, well, I can't be your mother anymore because I have to go and be a mother superior, which comes out of the Catholic faith. So the dream was over and I fell back asleep, and I told my husband about it next day. And we went out for a while and then came back to find a note under the door because my aunt and uncle had finally located where we were and just said, call Hartford. And during that time of the dream, she was already in a coma from a heart attack, or she had already made her transition. And that's what made me know that it was That 3,000 miles didn't make any difference. She came to tell me, and called Hartford, and she had already passed away, but not really. She came all the way from Hartford from Boston to San Francisco to tell me, her beloved last child, that she was leaving. And there was one other thing. Let's see if I can laser it. A couple of years later, when my daughter Leah was a baby, and we were living in the country, and the woman lived down the road, the dirt road from us, and she would often have this older woman come to speak. Her name was Mother Mary. And she invited me, and she looked like a very fragile 90-year-old, this woman. And she got up and she began speaking. And as she spoke, it was all different. She became stronger and younger, and her voice was stronger, and it was amazing. And then after, she was asking, people came up to her, and I came up to her, and she turned around to look at me, and she said, "Is there someone in your life who has passed away not that long ago?" And I said, "Yeah, my mom passed away about 1.5 years ago." And she said, "Well, she would like you to know that she is still there, and she's watching over you and your new child, and she just wanted you to know that." So that was the last time that something like that happened. And I think today I want to look at it more deeply as something that there is a door, whether there's some kind of an open door that I can still go through and meet the people like my mom and my sister, and I can be with them again in that way on the other side of that door. So that's it.
Thank you, Judith. Peggy, did you see another hand?
No, I do not, actually. I see people have turned their videos on. Diana Kelly turned hers on early, and Barbara has hers on, Barbara Roberts. So I don't know if anybody would like to say something. Constance, would you like to say something? I see you've got a thumbs up.
Is that good enough?
Yes.
Yes. Good enough.
Just on a regular basis. There was a time when I was younger that that this was more visible to me, and now I just take it a little more for granted. One of the ways that it shows up for me is when I drive, and every time I'm going in traffic and I get a light, I say thank you, because I know that I'm being helped in that. The same as if I'm on the freeway and there's a close call, I always say thank you, because I just sort of feel like those entities are there, tapping me on the shoulder, telling me to watch out. The other thing, though, is it must have been 6 weeks ago. I was painting, and I painted. It was a round cardboard that is used for a cake round, and I painted it, and I found this little door that I put on it, and so it sort of became a portal. And so about a month before Reverend Jeff transitioned, I've been out to see him, and I took that and 2 mandalas, and I offered, and I said, "If you'd like one of these, I'd love to give it to you." And he chose the portal, and it was hanging. And the last time I was out there, it was hanging by the door as you go out his place. It's now on the altar in the social hall. So I sort of feel like that was something that I was guided to paint, to put together, so that Jeff could have that as a visual of where he was going, that he was going through that portal.
Mm.
And you know, when you talk about calling on him as an ancestor, there's and this is my own belief, is that I think about it, but I'm not calling on him because I feel like he needs some time
Mm-hmm.
to get used to not being in that body, and
Mm-hmm.
to get used to having that freedom and to do whatever else he needs to do. But I know that he is available when that time is right. And the other thing is if the day after he transitioned, the chickadees showed up in my little back patio, starting to build a nest. They were there last year, and I wasn't sure they were coming back. And the day afterwards, they were there, very furiously building their nest. So,
Ah,
so I do feel that was a sign. That was like, yeah, there's always something new coming. The old leave and make way for the new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think Eileen, did you want to share?
No, I'm just listening, but thank you. I really appreciated listening to this. It's been really helpful.
Okay, thank you, sweetie.
Bob had his hand up.
Yeah, I thought Bob did too. I was going to ask him next. Yeah, Bob, what you got?
Without getting into like specifics or specific dreams, I have a very active dream life, and that's why when the quote about Rumi, "Don't go back to sleep," that kind of struck a chord with me, because if I go over the dream that I just had, instead of going back to sleep, then I have a message, or I have a affirmation, or some symbols to work with, and usually they're very pleasant or very fun, or at least entertaining. But I do take some messages from them, and that's I write them down often as well. And I have sometimes I go back over them and just to read them. So, but dreams, they speak to me a lot. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, dreams are a portal, and yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to also mention that I've been reading this book, Anam Cara, which is John O'Donoghue's book, and he defines Anam Cara as a soul friend. And it's a word from Gaelic that translates as soul friend, and it comes from ancient Celtic. And without going into, I'm not an expert in this, but I understand the feeling of it. And he says, I'm just going to read one line about the Anam Cara. When you had an Anam Cara, your friendship cuts across all convention, morality, and categories. You were joined in an ancient and eternal way with the friend of your soul. The Celtic understanding did not set limitations of space and time on the soul. There is no cage for the soul. The soul is a divine light that flows into you and into your other. So I feel like, you know, probably we all have an what is it, Anam Cara. We probably all have an Anam Cara. It's very comforting, that idea, and that this is an eternal relationship that isn't broken by time, passage of time, or by death, that it's a connection that's eternal. And I just love that. I'm going to close with a quote from the Desiderata, which was written by Max Ehrmann in 1927.
Judith, before you close, can we get Barbara Roberts in there real quick?
Who?
Barbara Roberts.
Oh, Barbara, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's do Barbara.
Barbara's my sister-in-law.
Barbara. Don't forget to unmute yourself, Barbara.
There we go. I'm going to share a dream that I had. I was in England studying in my early 20s, and at one of the lectures, someone talked about the importance of dreams and the importance of writing down your dreams. So I started doing that very faithfully when I wake up in the morning. And the professor who mentioned this said that, well, if you sort of drift back into your dreams, you might even remember the dream you had just before that last dream. And so I very faithfully would lie in bed and just sort of drift back. And sometimes I would remember 2 dreams, sometimes 3. One time I remembered 4 dreams. And this had never happened before. But anyway, I was very faithfully writing them down after I drifted back, and then I would wake up and then I would write all the dreams down. And then while I was there, one day I got a letter from my mom and dad telling me that my grandma on my dad's side had died. And my first response was, I was angry at them. Why didn't they call me so that I would know right away when this happened? And but I went home to my room and I was looking through my dream journal, and I came across this dream that was my grandma. She was holding 3 children and saying goodbye to them and holding them and sharing her love with them. And then I looked at my dad's letter, and that was the same day that my grandma had died. And so I knew that she had come to me from Indiana all the way across the world to England, where I was. And I couldn't believe this. And I right away, called my mom and dad, and I was so excited to tell them. And when I told them, my dad said, "Oh, that was a coincidence." So it was the first time in my life I knew that my dad did not know everything. So it was my first major spiritual experience of that type.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, the dream world, dreams are a portal to they're a doorway. They're a doorway, as we talked about earlier. They're a doorway to the other side, and that we can cross back and forth, and others come to us through that doorway of dreams. Thank you, Barbara. That's a very sweet story. So now I'm going to close with one final quote, and this is from the Desiderata. The Desiderata is a long document. This is just one little section of it. And it says, "You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should." So with that, I'd like to thank you and turn it back to Paul.
Let's thank Judith, everybody, through raising or clapping and all of that stuff that we can do digitally.
Yay.
Digitally, yeah.
Hey. And decently, please. Bless you all. Bless you, Judith. I am going to give you my nugget, and you dropped it right at the opening. When you showed that fabulous slide, you gave me a perspective, as usual, when you speak, that I've never experienced before. So I'm going to attribute to this with all the other ones that you've dropped into my pocket, which I'm very grateful for, which was that slide of the person in the tree pose with the branches to the sky and the roots to the ground and the heart being the center. And you said, we are the bridge between heaven and earth. Wow. That to me is my new, it's on this card you can't see here, but that's my new nugget from the fabulous Judith. So thank you, darling, so much for giving me a new nugget to chew on until you show up again, which will be soon, I am sure. The invitation, as you know, is always open, so you'll be called.
Thank you,
You will
Paul.
be called. We also enjoy you so much. I'm going to take a few minutes to do some announcements. We got some big deal things going on here at the center. So if you'll bear with me, as you know, it is a tender time for us here at the center. And so we're going to always be making a lot of references to our beloved Reverend Jeff. And I'm so grateful you all came tonight. So I think a lot of that started tonight and it's going to continue on Sunday. On March 28th, upcoming, is the Practitioners Speak. This spirit-filled panel discussion moderated by practitioner Andy Robbins with practitioner emeritus Dodie Cheney Fernandez, practitioner Eliza Young, and practitioner Elena Hutchison will discuss what is a practitioner and how has this been impacted by serving under Reverend Jeff. Yeah. Isn't that great? Meditation will be at 10 and the service starts at 10:30. Then next Wednesday is the 5th Wednesday of the month, and it is the last day of the month. So we'll be closing our theme for the month out with practitioner Christopher Brown, and you can see him there looking into the great beyond. He's out in the wilderness and he's got a fold-up chair. I love it. I mean, the dichotomy of it all. Okay, so Christopher is a divine practitioner, and he's always delivers rich, deliberate material. His topic is, and I just know that all these topics are divinely timed, Judith. I just know this. His topic is accepting what is. So I think it'll be a rich, intimate, and informal discussion with Christopher, as it was tonight with Judith. So join us next on Sunday and Wednesday. And speaking in this tender time, if you haven't done so already, please come by to the center. We know there's a pandemic going on, but we put up some things so we can celebrate our relationship with Reverend Jeff. We've installed on the fence outside in a safe, spaced environment some writing paper on the fence as you drive in. You can't miss it. You'll see it. There's lots of it there where you can express your thoughts and feelings on that paper on the fence. And while you're there, take a walk up to the social hall, and as if you were going in, looking that window to the left of the double doors under the overhang. And if you look in, you'll see what's in the right-hand corner, and in the middle is an altar in honor of Reverend Jeff that Janine has put together. And that's where that picture is that Constance just mentioned. So you can see it through the window. It's right there. It's a safe way to visit that in your own time and in your own place. And these will be on exhibit and available for at least another week. It looks like we won't be having any rain for a while. So please come by and express yourself in that way if you feel so called to do so. 3 amazing group events are coming up soon. The Women's Spiritual Transformation Group will continue this Sunday at 12:30. If you're interested in a part of that group right after church. Also, make sure to attend Diversity Circle this Friday, March 26th at 7 p.m. After the 2016 election, a study found that 1 in 6 Americans stopped speaking to a family member or close friend. This month, we'll watch and discuss Purple America, We Need to Talk, a new film by Resetting the Table. The film captures the concerns and humanity beneath our national conflicts and models what healthy public debate on fault line issues can look like. Connecting by computer instead of another mobile device that doesn't have a camera with it is strongly encouraged, so you can enjoy the movie. And again, that's Friday, March 26th at 7 o'clock. Also next Sunday, the Compassionate Attention to Loss Ministry group will meet at 12:30. The theme is Love Knows No Bounds, sharing our stories of connection. This group is available always for support during times like we're going through right now. So if you are feeling a little bit extra in need of support, like Judith talked about, we have this calm group underneath and supporting all of us during this tender time. So please make yourself available to it if you need it, Sunday after church at 12:30. All three of these events are accessible through our events page on our website, where you'll see the links in a digital kind of way. Also on the events page is registration for Meditation is More Than You Think. That registration continues right now, and if you've been wanting a stronger meditation practice, this course is for you. You'll learn and experience different forms of meditation and find the one that suits you best. This 5-week class will be taught by Reverend Jerry Carter and Reverend Tony Bradford. Today is the last day for the early registration price of $198. So get over to the events page and look for, no, I apologize. It's on the classes and workshops section of the website, right next to the events section, and go to upcoming classes and workshop page. That's where you can register. This class will start on Tuesday, April 6th. And then finally, you can make one stop to the center and stop by Reverend Jeff's celebration spots, or you can come to the center on Saturday between 10 and 3, where Linda Wyman, our bookstore hostess, is holding an outdoor bookstore courtyard sale. That's this Saturday, March 27th from 10 to 3. It will comply with all health regulations. Masks, hand washing will be available. Masks are available, and social distancing will be kind of complied with. So we'll keep doing everything within our 6-foot distance, showing our love. If you're willing to help, you can let Linda know by that email address of bookstore@oaklandcsl.org. Now, if you've missed browsing the bookstore as much as I have, this is a safe, spacious environment for us to do it. So please join us on Saturday, and then you can visit Reverend Jeff's signature board as well. A couple of last minute things I'd like to remind you about. Check out our new Facebook page. Give it a like if you would. Also, the noon spiritual journeys are continuing, reviewing daily inspirations from Dr. Dan Morgan's book, Guidance for a Spiritual Journey. That is continuing this month and will probably continue going forward. Our group is growing. We had 16 this week. Excellent. It meets Monday through Friday at 12 noon, and you can go to the events page for that one and look for the Dr. Dan Noontime Reading and click on it. The password is there. Everything is at oaklandcsl.org, our webpage. So for all of these events, make sure you check out our Village Facebook group, as well as our YouTube channel, where there's a lot of videos from the Village and several of Reverend Jeff there. In addition to that, if you're new and here for the first time and you'd like to stay connected to us, you can go to the homepage of the website, lower left-hand corner, submit your email address, and you'll get our weekly Village news. It's our newsletter that's telling you what's upcoming with all the digital links so you can attend. Lots of information out there, lots of announcements. I want to thank Eliza Young for praying tonight and also doing our beautiful opening meditation. We are so blessed to have such a wonderful team behind the scenes taking care of us. our hostess Constance, Peter, as well as Alice and Sage, and of course the incredible Peggy Cotton. Thank you guys. You make my job so easy here on Wednesday nights. With that in mind, I'm going to ask that you just take a minute and consider doing an offering. Peter, if we could take a look at the offering slide. I'm holding up the digital bowl and holding your gifts, and I'm saying and asking you to repeat with me. This gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. So I receive your gift and I pass it on. And the way we can pass it on in this new digital age is where else? The website. Click the donate button where you can use your credit card, or the youngsters text using text to donate 510-327-3431, or you can send it in the old-fashioned way at 5000 Clairwood Drive. All of this information is at www.oaklandcsl.org, right on our homepage, right at the top. So it's very easy to donate. We're grateful for your gifts. I bless it. I receive it. And we, in turn, take it in so we can put it back out in the world that works better for all of us. So, oh, blessed be, Jeff would say, blessed be. With that in mind, I'm going to ask Liza to come forward one more time and ask her to close us out in prayer. Again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with us this very precious and tender Wednesday night. Thank you so much. Liza, I turn it over to you.
Yeah. I got my mask on, ready to go where I have to go. Took off my practitioner stole, but it's invisibly there, supporting me and my practitionerness. And we know that all of you are practitioners if you practice. It's some people have a license. It doesn't matter. If you practice, you're a practitioner. So we're gonna all know the goodness of God and the beauty of God and the wonder and the awesomeness and the delight and curiosity and the peace and the joy and upliftment and so much more. And I am one with this one. All of these qualities and the beyond are part of who I am in each and every moment. And this is true for everyone that has participated tonight or that will watch this later. We are each a magnificent divine expression of the one. In this knowingness, I give thanks for this wonderful evening and all the stories and thoughts that have been shared and the presence and I give thanks for our marvelous tech team that have supported this activity tonight. And thanks to Judith and Paul and everyone who has come tonight. And I bless us all in our journey home. If we're already home, there you are. So you don't have to journey anywhere, but I bless you in your journey to your inward home, and knowing that we are safe and that we are uplifted and inspired and connected by the activities this evening. I give thanks for all of this and release it to the law. It says, yes, it's a done deal. And so it is. And blessed be.
And blessed be. You want to turn on your cameras for a minute and go into gallery view? We can say hello and good night to one another. Dr. Judith gave us a full social time of upcoming history, which I'm grateful for, Dr. Judith. Thank you for that during the break.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Judith. It was wonderful.
Hi, Laura.
Diana, hi.
Thank you all.
Have a good evening.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're muted, Diana. You're muted.
Night.
Larry.
Good night, Larry.
Peggy.
Hey.
Hey.
Barbara, you're muted too.
Daniela.
Hey,
There. Hi,
Barbara.
Barbara.
Hi,
Diana.
Jude. Really wonderful to see you. And Barbara, I've met you before too, but mostly Judith.
And for you all who are hearing that Diana is one of my oldest friends, at least like 35 or 40-year friendship, and she's in Ojai.
Oh,
Right.
hey, Diana.
Wow, welcome.
Welcome. I thought you were going to say something earlier. Good to see you.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't sure if we were supposed to turn off our cameras or not, so I kept going in and out.
Okay.
But I didn't want
We
to say
do that. We do that all the time, so it's okay.
Right, it's perfect.
that it's Judith, it's just really wonderful to see you and hear you tonight. And
Thank you so
I
much.
just-
Yeah.
you're glowing, and you used to glow too.
There you go.
One of my dearest friends. Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you all. Don't forget about Sunday, and if you can come at noontime, that would be great too. We're having a good
Hi,
time.
everybody.
Yeah.
Good
Hey,
night.
Larry. Good to see you on a
Night.
Wednesday.
Bye,
Hey, Louise.
Danielle.
Hey, Reinhardt.
Good night. Thank
Bye,
you.
Gabriella.
Thank you very much.
Freya.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Danielle.
Bye, Grady and Luis, Larry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maggie, bye-bye. I'm gonna go. Thanks.
Bye-bye. See you guys.
Bye, Paul.
All right, I'm gonna
Five,
sign us
3,
off.
2,
Ready?
1. Bye.
3, 2, I can't count. 3,
One.
1.